And welcome back. Well, are you feeling burned out, maybe a little bit overwhelmed? Well, our next guest says you can use those lessons of burnout to spring towards a better life at home, work, and beyond.
That's right. Executive leadership coach Tiffany Yvonne is back to help us reimagine burnout and the lessons it teaches us. Welcome back. It's so good to see you again.
See you.
So good to see you all.
I know.
So everything we know about burnout, I know I've experienced it, you know.
In the last couple of weeks.
No, well, yes, right? It's so exhausting. But, you know, working at Springer Show and other things, it's awful and we hear how awful it is. Why are you saying we should embrace it?
You know, we don't need to run from it. When you run from something, it just chases after you. Really just embracing the lessons that come from it and looking at the golden nuggets, like what is this trying to teach me? How can I use this to do better next time is really major key to using it to your advantage instead of just like running and shrinking from what you're facing.
I think that's very bold, you know, and a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but it's really catching up with me. So if somebody says, okay, I'll embrace it. I'm going to just accept this burnout. I'm going to go into it, face it, lean in. What lessons can we learn from it? What can we take from it?
You know, I always say pause so that you can plan, and that's how you play to win. So it's not saying like, oh, I got burnout, let's celebrate that.
No.
Instead, it's saying like, what is this teaching me? How can I learn from that? And actually, what lessons can I learn and what steps can I take? So the pause is to like regroup yourself.
Yeah.
It's here. I'm not running from it. Now I'm going to plan what worked, what didn't, what do I need to change? And that's how you play to win, how you can hop back into the game, re-energized to be able to do something about it.
I like that.
Do you have some lessons or takeaways from burnout that speak especially to people that are in leadership positions?
Yeah, for leaders, I think the big aha is that there is no work you and home you. Like the pandemic proved to us in unimaginable ways that our work and our home lives are colliding,
nonstop.
Right? And so really just embracing the fullness of who you are as a person and also recognizing that if it's happening to you, it's likely happening for those that you manage, and how you respond to it, it can be an example for how they can respond to it as well. If you try to pretend like it doesn't exist, your people will show in their actions, in their results, etc. So really just communicating courageously about what you're facing and acknowledging what they're facing, major key.
It's very insightful.
Because output's going to go down. If you're burned out, you are not
Resentment.
producing. Yeah, all of the things. So, okay, so that's what an executive or a leadership person can do. What if the organization or that leader thinks you as an individual just needs to deal with it on your own? Is that true?
It is such fake news. You know, I say people problems are profit problems. So just like you said, the results.
Great point. People problems are profit problems.
Period. You know, it's like, it's going to show up in the results. It's going to show up in their morale. It's going to show up in toxicity or the dysfunction of your team. And all of a sudden you're like, that was your problem. It's become everyone's problem. So really just like knowing there's no good customer experience without a good employee experience. You got to take care of your people or your profits will show. Maybe slowly, but sooner or later
it'll show. It'll catch up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are there ways that, I mean, I guess it's, you know, experience specific, but are there things that you might recommend for employers who see employees might be facing that? And, you know, sometimes somebody will leave a company and then there's one employee who's covering for another plus their other job, you know.
It's a lot right now.
Yeah, me, like doing Molly's job and movie reviews. I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, people who are covering and they're not hiring a new person back right away or something like that. How do you recommend that leaders or managers deal with that?
I always say if your first thought is like, you know, we're a mean and lean team, we're going to do more with less, like no one is excited when they hear that, right? And so really just the courageous conversations are major key, recognizing that your leadership development efforts really need to be personal and professional development, right? So that it shows the employee you're not just concerned about your work getting done or the performance, but about them as a person is just changes the game. Because when people know, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And then you show them that you care about their personal development and their professional development. They're more willing, the morale is there, they're more willing to do things, work as a team, and share courageously.
I have a friend who's in a similar position right now, and she's in a job where, similar to what you said, Ryan, someone was let go. She had to take over that job and her job. Her bosses, as she's had this conversation, have not listened, have not compensated, have not even really acknowledged or appreciated. At what point do you say, I'm burned out and I have to go?
You know, that's where the whole quiet quitting phenomenon came from.
Yeah.
Because so much of that was just like, oh no, we just need more and more and more. And there's all this scarcity around, you know, well, do your work or lose your job, especially as we talk about all these layoffs and things that are happening. But really just being courageous and being a leader in your own life, regardless of the position you hold, and setting your boundaries, what's non-negotiable for you, and having like courageous conversations aren't just for your leaders, they're for you too.
Yeah.
This no longer works for me. If my work is valued here, we might need to do this, that, or the third. And I get it. Courageous conversations are not easy.
They're not fun,
But they're
important.
necessary.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I think so many people can identify with this topic. But
Yeah.
just really quickly, because we're out of time, but like, is there you have resources right now for anyone that identifies with this issue immediately they could download for instant use?
Yes, so on the same website, the tifftalks.live, where we usually do the classes, there's a bundle right now that includes
Okay.
that quit list.
Yeah.
It includes, like, I call it a kick butt list, so like 10 things you've done in the past to remind you who you
Ooh,
are.
that's nice.
And then like a balancing sheet so you can be well financially, emotionally, and physically, and not just one or the other.
That's going to help so many
So,
people.
I'll download that right now.
Forward it to me.
It's good to see you.
Tiffany, thank you so much.
Yeah,
as
thanks for
always.
being here.
I
And if
love
you
it.
want to learn more about Tiffany or share this with a friend, go to our website. It's themorningblend.com.